Many people have tasted moments of profound peace, perhaps during meditation, walking quietly through nature, watching the sun disappear below the horizon, holding a newborn child, listening to rain against the window, or simply during one unexpected moment when the mind became completely still. For a few brief moments, everything felt effortless. Nothing needed solving, nothing needed improving, nothing was missing. Life simply was. Then, almost without noticing, ordinary life returned. The familiar thoughts came back. The old emotional reactions quietly resurfaced. The body tightened, the shoulders lifted, the breath became shallower. The mind began organizing the world again. Soon it seemed as though that peace had disappeared. Many people assume this means they lost something, that awakening only exists during special moments. That presence is a state they occasionally enter, but cannot remain within. So they begin searching for another retreat, another meditation, another experience powerful enough to bring them back. But what if nothing actually disappeared? What if awareness never left? What if the only thing still catching up was the body itself? At the higher stages of awakening, the journey is no longer about discovering awareness. That has already happened. The journey becomes allowing the nervous system to trust what awareness already knows. Because there comes a point where being is no longer something you experience for a few quiet moments. It begins to learn how to breathe through you, move through you, speak through you, until eventually, peace is no longer an experience you visit. It quietly becomes the way your body lives. One of the most confusing parts of awakening is discovering that profound realization does not always produce immediate transformation. There may come a moment when something becomes unmistakably clear. The separate self is seen through. Thought loses its authority. Awareness recognizes itself. For an instant, everything feels complete. You assume life has permanently changed. Yet the next morning, someone says something unexpected. A difficult conversation begins, an old fear appears. Suddenly the body contracts, the stomach tightens, the chest becomes guarded, breathing shortens, thoughts begin racing again. Many people interpret this as failure. They wonder whether the awakening was real, whether they somehow lost it, whether they have fallen backwards. But perhaps nothing has been lost at all. The mind is capable of recognizing truth almost instantly. The nervous system is not. Consciousness can awaken in a single moment. The body reorganizes gradually. This is one of the great transitions that many people never fully understand. In the earlier stages of awakening, insight feels like the destination. You search for the next realization, the next breakthrough, the next glimpse beyond the mind. But eventually, something unexpected becomes obvious. Awareness already knows. It is the organism that has not yet learned to trust what awareness has discovered. For a lifetime, the nervous system has organized itself around the assumption of separation. It has learned to anticipate danger, to brace before uncertainty, to tighten before feeling, to prepare before life has even asked anything of it. These responses are not created by thought. Thought simply explains them after they have already begun. The muscles tighten before the story appears. The breath changes before the mind begins interpreting what is happening. Attention narrows before you consciously decide where to focus. The body is not making a mistake, it is repeating patterns that once protected it. This is why awakening can feel inconsistent. One day, everything feels open. The next day, old reactions return. Not because awareness has disappeared, but because the nervous system has briefly returned to the organization it has practiced for decades. Awareness remains exactly where it has always been. It is the body that is still learning a different way to live. This understanding changes the entire journey. Instead of chasing more insight, attention naturally turns toward embodiment, not because the mind has failed, but because the mind has already completed much of its work. Chapter 6 begins at precisely this point. The question is no longer how to awaken. The question becomes how awakening learns to inhabit flesh, how awareness gradually reorganizes posture, breath, movement, emotion, and relationship from the inside out. The body slowly discovers that it no longer needs to protect a separate self. Safety becomes its natural orientation. Breathing deepens without effort. Movement becomes simpler. Reactivity begins to thin. Not because you are controlling yourself more effectively, but because the conditions that once required defense are quietly disappearing. Being is no longer something awareness occasionally experiences. It begins becoming the body's own way of breathing, moving, responding, and living. Awakening is no longer an extraordinary event. It begins becoming physiology itself. When being begins to settle into the body, the changes are rarely dramatic. From the outside, your life may appear much the same. You still wake up, go to work, prepare meals, spend time with family, answer emails, walk the dog, pay the bills. Nothing extraordinary appears to have happened. Yet everything feels subtly different. Not because life has changed, because the one meeting life has changed. There is less friction between awareness and experience. You notice that decisions no longer require endless internal debate. Instead of mentally rehearsing every possible outcome, response begins to arise naturally from the moment itself. There is less hesitation, less second-guessing, less pressure to guarantee the future before taking the next step. Conversation changes as well. You stop listening in order to prepare your reply. You stop searching for the perfect thing to say. Attention rests more fully with the person in front of you. Listening becomes deeper because it is no longer interrupted by the constant activity of self-reference. Relationships begin to soften, not because everyone behaves differently, but because the nervous system is no longer organized around defense. You no longer need to protect an image, win every disagreement, appear wise, or convince others that you have awakened. The quiet need to manage how you are perceived begins to dissolve. Achievement changes too. You still create, you still work, you still care deeply about what you bring into the world, but urgency slowly disappears. Action no longer carries the hidden burden of proving your worth. Success becomes expression rather than compensation. Failure becomes information rather than identity. Even spirituality changes. There's less interest in appearing peaceful, less interest in collecting profound experiences, less need to describe your level of consciousness. The performance quietly falls away. What remains is surprisingly ordinary. Presence begins expressing itself through the smallest moments. The way you make a cup of tea, the way you walk across a room, the way you pause before speaking, the way your body remains available while another person is struggling. Nothing needs to look spiritual because life itself has become sacred. The body also begins to feel different. Instead of reacting automatically, it becomes increasingly transparent. Experience no longer passes through layers of habitual contraction before reaching awareness. It moves more freely. Emotion is felt without becoming identity. Sensation arises without immediately becoming a problem to solve. Thought appears without needing to become belief. Life begins flowing through openness rather than resistance. This changes the quality of every experience. Not because difficult situations disappear. Loss still comes, change still comes, uncertainty still comes, pain still comes. But resistance no longer multiplies suffering. Without constant inner opposition, even challenge carries a surprising simplicity. Action becomes cleaner because it is no longer competing with fear. Rest becomes deeper because vigilance no longer follows you into stillness. Creativity becomes spontaneous because expression is no longer filtered through self-consciousness. Compassion appears without effort because there is less sense of separation between yourself and another. Love also changes. It becomes less about possession, less about completing yourself through someone else, less about maintaining an identity called my relationship. Instead, love becomes availability, an openness through which life naturally meets itself. This is perhaps the quiet miracle of embodiment. Being is no longer something you occasionally remember during meditation or moments of silence. It no longer feels like a special state that comes and goes. It quietly becomes the atmosphere from which every ordinary moment unfolds. Breathing happens within it. Movement happens within it. Conversation happens within it. Work happens within it. Life is no longer divided into spiritual moments and ordinary moments. There is simply one seamless movement, awareness expressing itself as a body that has finally learned to stop standing apart from life. If there is one misunderstanding that quietly delays embodiment, it is the belief that awakening can be completed through greater effort. The mind naturally assumes that if more practice brought more insight, then more discipline must bring deeper embodiment. So it tries harder, it meditates longer, it observes more carefully, it monitors every thought. It attempts to maintain presence from morning until night. But the body does not learn safety through pressure. Pressure is precisely the language of survival that awakening is inviting it to leave behind. The nervous system does not soften because it has been instructed to soften. It softens because moment by moment, it begins discovering that it no longer needs to protect itself from life. This is why embodiment unfolds so differently from personal achievement. You cannot command the body into trust. You cannot force openness. You cannot discipline yourself into peace. The body learns through experience. Each moment of genuine presence quietly teaches the nervous system something it has perhaps never fully known, that this moment is safe enough to remain open. That sensation can move without becoming overwhelming. That uncertainty does not automatically require defense. That emotion can be fully felt without becoming identity. That life is not asking for constant vigilance. With every moment of direct contact, something ancient begins to relax. The body slowly realizes it no longer has to brace before experience arrives. It no longer has to anticipate every possible danger. It no longer has to organize itself around an imagined separate self that must constantly survive. This learning cannot be rushed. It unfolds the way a frightened animal slowly learns it no longer needs to remain alert. Not because someone explains safety, because safety is experienced repeatedly. The same is true of awakening. Presence becomes believable to the body only through living it. The body learns through experience. Each moment of genuine presence quietly teaches the nervous system something it has perhaps never fully known, that this moment is safe enough to remain open. That sensation can move without becoming overwhelming. That uncertainty does not automatically require defense. That emotion can be fully felt without becoming identity. That life is not asking for constant vigilance. With every moment of direct contact, something ancient begins to relax. The body slowly realizes it no longer has to brace before experience arrives. It no longer has to anticipate every possible danger. It no longer has to organize itself around an imagined separate self that must constantly survive. This learning cannot be rushed. It unfolds the way a frightened animal slowly learns it no longer needs to remain alert. Not because someone explains safety, because safety is experienced repeatedly. The same is true of awakening. Presence becomes believable to the body only through living it. Little by little, the old contractions lose their purpose. The shoulders no longer carry unnecessary tension. The breath begins settling into its natural rhythm. Movement becomes simpler. Stillness becomes effortless. The nervous system gradually discovers that openness requires less energy than defense. This is the beginning of coherence, not the absence of challenge, not emotional perfection, not a life where difficult experiences never arise. Coherence simply means that the organism is no longer divided against itself. Awareness, sensation, emotion, movement, and action begin functioning as one uninterrupted intelligence. There is less inner conflict, less contradiction, less fragmentation. Life no longer needs to push through resistance before it can express itself. This is why Chapter 6 describes awakening not as transcendence, but as intimacy. Being is no longer standing outside the body, observing experience from a distance. It settles into the body completely. It breathes as the body, moves as the body, feels as the body, responds as the body. Eventually, something remarkably simple happens. Being stops feeling like a state you occasionally enter. It becomes the body's natural resting place. Awareness is no longer visiting life through moments of presence. Awareness is living as life itself. Nothing dramatic announces this transition. There is no final achievement, no identity to claim, only a quiet recognition that the search has gently dissolved into ordinary living. The body has finally learned what awareness understood from the very beginning. There was never anything to defend, only life, quietly waiting to be fully lived. Perhaps awakening was never meant to remain a remarkable experience. Perhaps it was never meant to arrive only during meditation, or retreats, or moments of perfect silence. Perhaps those moments were never the destination. Perhaps they were simply showing you what life feels like when nothing inside is resisting it. Because eventually, something very quiet begins to happen. Presence no longer waits for ideal conditions. It no longer depends on a peaceful room, a particular practice, or a certain state of mind. It begins appearing while you wash the dishes, while you answer the phone, while you walk through the grocery store, while you sit beside someone you love, while you sit beside someone you find difficult. Being quietly follows you into the ordinary, until eventually there is nowhere it is absent. Perhaps this is what the body has been learning all along, not how to become spiritual, but how to stop separating life into spiritual moments and ordinary moments. The body slowly discovers that openness is safe, that this breath is enough, that this moment asks for nothing more than complete participation. Perhaps the destination was never a permanent spiritual state. Perhaps it has always been allowing the nervous system to become gentle enough that being no longer needs special conditions to reveal itself. Until one day, almost unnoticed, the search simply becomes unnecessary. Not because life has become perfect, not because every challenge has disappeared, but because home is no longer somewhere else. Home is this breath, this body, this moment, this ordinary life. And perhaps the greatest transformation is not learning how to leave ordinary life behind. Perhaps it is discovering that ordinary life has quietly been the expression of the extraordinary all along.